Today we're going to talk about percent word problems. So we've already talked about basic percent proportions. Now we're going to apply that to word problems. So just a reminder, percent proportions are used when you are using percentages to compare numbers. So we have kind of our little cheat sheet here reminding us the order. So remember that we have our part, which the word is clues us into. We have the whole, which the word of clues us into. And then we have percent, which you're going to either see the percent sign or the word percent. So I'm not highlighting the 100 because that is always going to be there no matter what. Where we've highlighted is where those values could change or it could become a variable. So let's look at example number 1. At Hogwarts, 270 students ride their broom to school. If this number is 72% of the entire school, then how many students go to Hogwarts? So again, no matter what, I'm always filling out the bottom right with 100. The first thing that I then look for in my problem is the percent. So I'm either looking for the percent sign or the word percent. If I look right here, I see 72%. So I'm going to fill that in my percent proportion. Now I have to look at the part or the whole. So is and of are easy to point out when you have just a basic percent problem. It's a little bit harder in the word problems. So I'm going to look at the other number that's given to me. It says, at Hogwarts, 270 students ride their broom to school. Well, we got to think about it. Is that the whole entire school or is that part of the school? Well, in the question it says, then how many students go to Hogwarts? So, the students that ride their brooms are not all of the students. They are only part of the students. And the question is asking us how many total. Okay, so we don't know the total. So we're comparing the broom riders to the total. So there are 270 broom riders. We don't know how many students go to Hogwarts. So that is what we are solving for. Now we can look at our two sets of diagonals. The diagonal that has two numbers in it is the yellow one here, so I'm going to multiply 270 times 100, which gives me 27,000. And then I'm going to divide by the number in the same diagonal as the variable. So divide by 72, and I get 375. Since this is a word problem, you need to make sure you are including your units. So what were we solving for? Our x is on the bottom, so we were solving for the total number of students. So 375 students. All right, example number 2. The Chicago Cubs won 60% of the 160 games they played this season. How many games did they win? So, again, it's always going to be 100 on the bottom here. Next thing I'm looking for is the percent. I see my percent sign, and it says 60%. So I'm filling that out in my proportion. Now I'm looking at the other number that's given to us, 160 games. So the Chicago Cubs won 60% of the 160 games they played. So that's talking about the total number of games they played. So I'm going to put that there. 160 games total, okay? And then if we look at the question, it says how many games did they win? They didn't win every single game. They won some of them or part of them. So that is the other unit that we are comparing the games won. We don't know what that is, so we use our variable. Now let's look at our two diagonals. The diagonal that has two numbers in it is our blue diagonal, 160 and 60. So I'm going to multiply those two together. I get 9,600. I divide by the number that's in the same diagonal as the variable. So I divide by 100 and I get 96 games. Specifically, games 1 is what we were solving for. Okay. All right, number 3. John spent $15 of his $200 budget. What percent of his budget did he spend? So our bottom right is always going to be 100. Then I'm looking for the percent. I don't see a percent sign. Instead, I see the word percent. What percent? Which means we are solving for the percent. Now we got to look at the two numbers that we have. We have $15 and we have $200, okay? So he spent $15 of his $200 budget. So we're comparing the total money he has with what he spent. So the money spent is the other unit. So what's the total that he had? $15, or does he have a total of $200? He has a total of $200, so that goes on the bottom, which means the $15 that he spent is the part of his money, not all of the money. So $200 is our total. $15 that he spent is the part. Now let's look at our two diagonals. So we're going to multiply the two numbers that are diagonal from each other. In this case, it's 15 and 100. 15 times 100 is 1,500, divided by the number that's in the same diagonal as the variable, divided by 200, gives me 7.5. What was I solving for? Well, my x is on top where the percent is, so 7.5%. All right, number 5. At Target, the price. Nope, sorry. Jerry, too far up. Jerry received a 7 out of 12 on his most recent social studies quiz. What percent did he get on the quiz? So again, filling out the 100. Looking for my percent. I don't see the percent sign, but I do see the word percent. So that means we are solving for the percent. Now I'm looking at the two other numbers that are given to me. I have 7 and I have 12. So we're talking about a quiz. He got 7 correct out of 12 total questions. So we already know that the total is going on the bottom, but the correct answers is the part. That's what's going on top. So our total out of 12 goes on the bottom. He received a 7, so he got part of them right, goes on the top. So a total of 12, 7 is how many he got right. Now let's look at our diagonals. The two numbers that are in the same diagonal are 7 and 100, so I'm going to multiply those, which gives me 700. Divide by the number that's in the diagonal with the variable, divided by 12. We get about 58 and 3/10. What were we solving for? Our x is on top here with the percent, so 58.3% on the test. All right, let's do one more, and then you'll try the you-try. At Target, the price of pants has been reduced to $22. This price is at 55% of the original price for pants. Given this, what was the original price of the pants? So again, filling out the 100, looking for the percent. I see a percent sign, so I can fill that in my proportion. Now I'm looking at the other number that's given to me is $22. So it says the price of pants has been reduced to $22. So is that the total amount of the pants, or is that part of the price? If it's been reduced, that's part of the price. So that, I'm going to say, is our sale price, which is $22. And if we look at the question, it says, what was the original price of the pants? Which means what was the total actually? So that's what we are solving for. Let's look at our two diagonals. The diagonal that has two numbers in it is the yellow diagonal with 22 and 100. So I'm going to multiply 22 times 100, which gives me 2,200. And divide by the number that's opposite to the variable, divide by 55, and we get $40. Should make sense. Our sale price is less than it. Our original price should have been more. So I want you to do the you try on your own here. Stephanie received $400 for her birthday. If she spent 38% of it at the mall, how much money did she spend?